I'm Dr. Shivani Sood, the director founder Shivani Ayurveda. And as you know, a lot has changed in Shivani Ayurveda with us introducing online courses, consultation. I really thought about a lot of my patients or, my students who had studied directly from me and then shifted to the online things. And so I found out a great person to be with us today, Zuzana, who is an online strategist. That means she helps people design their online course and teach their passion. And I had really been fascinated by watching her show because what she spoke really resonated with me. So I invited her to be on our page and group in Shivani Ayurveda and do some myth busting with online study and courses, because everybody has his doubts about being in the online world and what's the quality. And so, hello, Zuzana. Thank you for joining us
Thank you
today.
very much for having me here. And it's so humbling that I can talk to your group.
Thank you for being there, because I really, think online education was the need of the hour, with thing. But, many people are hesitant about it. And I can totally understand. Maybe 5 years back, I would be the same, so I opened up my mind. So, like, can you tell us why online education is important, or making a course out of, like, what is the importance of it?
What I see as a trend is that the world has shrunk to the screen of our phones. So not even to our laptops any longer or computer screens, but to our phones. And because I have been teaching for like 20 or so years, and I've been designing different curriculums for different learning objectives, I figured that people tend to love to have the opportunity to proceed in their own pace as a complementary service to the classes or teaching,
Mm-hmm.
And so then this trend started around a good decade ago. So people wanted to have more and more opportunity to engage with the learning material, and obviously, just for sustainability, you can't be printing out those many handouts, or you can't get them by newer and newer courses. And because the online space provides an outstanding opportunity for them to practice, and if they are driven and motivated enough, then they do use the online space to practice and to learn. Then the more and more digital tools have been created. Think of just, I know you are not so long into the online course creation game, but just think of the learning management system, the course platforms like 5 years ago even, or about 5 years ago, when they started to become like a very lucrative software opportunity for companies. They were completely different and boring. And by now, and if you wanted to use it as an online course creator, you needed to have some technological background, at least minimal level of coding. Now it's drag and drop. So you just do a PDF and you upload it on your course platform. You do a video and then you upload it on your course platform. So it's very easy to use as an online educator. And on the flip side of it, as an online student as well. So the more and more the need and the demand was there, the more and more the digital space created opportunities for us to be able to deliver education online.
Exactly. That's what I loved about creating the online, because it really made me think about my, how I work with people. Because, it's normal, like a doctor, when somebody asks you, like, how do you do it? Then you think in in an aligned way. So I just love this about, creating the online course with the opportunity for reaching a lot of people. And really believing in this world, because, I told you in the short, I just started with 20 PDFs and today I have a whole proper teaching platform. So I see the power in online education, and I completely agree with you with, wanting to teach. But what are the, like, how, so in your eyes, because, you have created a lot of nice courses on different topic or help them design the curriculum. So people are really benefiting from the online course, right?
Yes. If the content delivery, so if the task types, the curriculum is designed in a way that it is engaging enough for the students. So what I mean by this is that in case you have small enough tasks for them to complete, so it's not like they need to write a 20-page essay to hand in once they have figured out what type of metabolic problems they have. Nobody would ever write 20 pages to hand you in, right? But they probably more likely to hand in some, like tick the right answers, or tick the answers that feels okay for you. So if you deliver the content in a format that is engaging enough, then it is a very transformational experience for a lot of the students who would never be able to learn the things that you teach, for example.
Exactly. Yes. And this experience for me come from the point that I actually worked with people in workshops. So I know when the workshops are like, you could doze off in the chair thinking like, when will this be over? Or you're like, what's going to be next? And I absolutely love this feeling in anything, like keeping the sparks, because when we're excited, our learning ability is doubled, So I just
Exactly.
love this point. But when do you decide in a profession that now is the time I must create a course,
Well, there comes a time when you have that many hours in a day and that many vacant slots on your calendar, and then you have a different number of people wanting to work with you. So when you really see the chance that you need to scale, but you are one person, usually coaches, consultants, or even medical professionals are just one of them, right? So patients come to them, clients come to them. But you have those many hours in a day, and it is very easy to burn out when your schedule is really fully booked. But once you understand that, as you say, that everybody is responsible for their own health, all students are responsible for their progression in the course. Obviously, the course creator is responsible for delivering the content in an engaging way. But let's face it, if you can force somebody to learn something if they are not ready to learn it, right? But once you see that they are ready to learn it, or ready to apply your methodology for a problem to solve it for themselves, then they are most probably benefiting from your course. And then you can scale your business. So you don't need to hire different staff. You don't need to, because technology takes care of it all.
Exactly.
So you don't need to run a big whatever company, so that you can really scale and make it even more lucrative.
Yes, but it's also really nice, the big picture of working with people with awareness. Like, my biggest sentence is like, I love it when people know the basics of self-care. Like, we know algebra, but we never use it, but we don't know how to really tune in our mind and body. So that's one of the nice thing, like, spreading the information out when you can reach a lot of people, because your content created is really effective.
Yes, on the one hand, you can use online courses to raise awareness around how you solve problems on a lower price point, for example, and then you can add your private consultancy accordingly.
Exactly.
But also you can substitute your private consultancy with an online course if you offer certain touch points to you. So it's not like the transformation or the transformational process does not necessarily happen only on the online course platform, but they get access to you, and you can even free up a lot of your schedule, a lot of your slots in the calendar. And then you can have a life, let's face it, because
Yes.
I like to say that we don't live to build a business, but we build a business to live, right?
Yes. And there comes a time you want to serve a lot more people than you used to serve before. And you know how to do it because you've worked in that profession, you know, so you know how a common system can be created. And I just love this, that, you know, sitting in the house, if somebody is a housewife or is not, they still have the opportunity to study and learn as much as a free single person, you know, because when we are married and when we have children, we all know we have a schedule there with the kids to go to the school, pick them up, and time becomes more precious.
Exactly.
Okay, now rapid fire for you. What are the top 3 qualities of a good online course? Just 3.
Just 3.
Yes.
To the point. So very specific to one certain problem. So to the point. Simple. So simple. It should be also simple. The tasks should be simple. It's not enough that you target one specific question at a time, at a unit or at a task, but it should be simple. So it should be easy for your students to understand the context in which they can learn, right? And then you should be able to measure progress. So easily trackable. The progress should be there, easily trackable.
Great. And
otherwise students just proceed, you know, they just go one by one, and you don't really know why they drop off at certain points of the course.
Yes, my whole life has been to make Ayurveda simple, you know, and effective.
Life is about simplicity.
Yeah,
perfection is not if you can add something or when you cannot take away anything else.
Yes, the simple words really resonates with me, because if it's simple, we feel comfortable. If we feel comfortable, use it. Otherwise, we just put it inside, like give an exam and forget about it. So I love this 3 ones. Okay, so then the next question. What's the biggest, you know, if somebody is building up an online course, what's the biggest difficulty that person might be facing? You know?
That they want to put everything into one course, and that's impossible. So whenever I see courses being promoted with the message that I have poured all my knowledge, my heart and soul into this one course, then the light bulb goes up. Is it that much we have to know so that we get started with applying it in our own lives? Obviously, you are an expert on what you create the course, right? So you have had like X many years of experience in that field, but you know how to package so that it can address certain sub-problems within it. So Ayurveda is a big topic, but you know how to address detoxification or enhancing metabolism or reverse aging or preventing whatever hypertension. So all these things are there, but you know you cannot create a big comprehensive course.
You can't.
But you know that you have to target so you cannot pour your heart and soul into one course because I don't need it. I don't need your heart and soul. I need your expertise, right?
Right. That's a very good advice. And it's because, you know, we want to just give away all what we know. But on the other hand, the people can only digest and take in and process it at a certain pace. Yes, that's a nice advice. And how do you spot out, you know, because you're a strategist planning, how do you spot out an online course which is effective and will bring results and the ones which don't? Is there something like you can spot it out because, you know, do you have your intuition?
Obviously. If I look at the course outline, if there is no task, no assessment, that is test, quiz, whatever in it, that the student has to pass so that it gets to the next unit, then that's not effective. Because we learn by getting feedback. obviously we learn by doing, so we need to do something. If we just sit in front of the computer and watch YouTube videos how to fly an airplane, it's completely different than sitting in the airplane and flying it, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Obviously, it starts with a simulator. So it starts with a simulator, no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
But then over time, you have to be able to fly that plane alone. Mm-hmm. So as an instructor, you have to walk your students through all these steps that here, this is the theory about it. This is how you can do it with me. Now go and do it alone.
Exactly. Yes.
And then come back and tell me how it went. So the testing part is that this come back to me and tell me how it went. Mm-hmm. If you have all these 4 phases in an outline, and obviously you deliver the content in the course about it, then it's a good course. I mean, it delivers results. If any of the 4 phases are missing, then it can work for some students who are very independent and driven and go after the answers, but a lot of the students who are not driven, or they try to fly a plane and then they crash, they won't sit into the next plane.
Exactly. I think, that's where when I was watching one of your top tips on Expert Channel, so I was like, did she come in my dreams and tell me these points? How did I put it inside my course? Because in my course, in every module, we have reflections also, because it's like a psychological insight. So we have reflection, challenges, activities, and then there's tests at, end of every week. So I was listening to her and I'm like, how come I knew this, so I was really impressed by this. But how did I know this?
Obviously, we all went to school.
Yes.
We all have a good understanding of how we learned and what we learned. Yes. But then what is missing a lot of the times is that we believe that the way we learn is the way everyone else learns. And this is not true. But, you have to create courses for different types of learners. But these are the 4 phases that you have to, so like theory, practice with me, practice alone, and then assessment. So these are the 4 phases. And then practice with me is the place where you can cater to all different learning styles.
Exactly. And with this, Ayurveda is so efficient because it already knows people are different. So that learning is, useful for me while I create a course, because I sense the one who, start the course and they're like, they read the whole week in the first day because they're supposed to do one lesson at a time. And they read the whole week. And then the ones who just do one, and the one who do all on the last day before our live class. So the types are different. And so I understand this, that everybody has different needs for education as well. But there is a lot of people around, who have blocks with online learning and education. They see it as an ineffective way of learning. And this is a comment I have heard, like, no, I don't want to have online earning. And they're hesitant. What would your advice be to them who are hesitant to kind of, follow an online curriculum? How do they start with,
If they feel the resistance first, then try and negotiate with the instructor to have like a personalized feedback loop built into the course, which means that they can get supported by doing the course via email, for example, or adding an extra channel for them that they feel okay with to get feedback on their progress. Because once they feel empowered and encouraged to move on, then they move on. Mm-hmm. So if you ask those people, what would be the channel for you to learn, which is, you can get me like in real life next to you in a clinic, but what would be an extra channel for you so that you can learn? Do you want me to have voice calls? Do you want me to have email support? Do you want me to have, what is the, or video calls? Which one would you like to have? And you can charge extra for it. And once they feel empowered enough, they can drop the extra channels. So yeah, later on into the course.
That's a great advice. Yes. But like I know when you're really hesitant to open up to online education, it might be a nice thing to know that to get a course which suits your needs, and then to kind of see, what you need first, maybe. And if you can find it somewhere studying, why would they choose online? Do you think, like, is it only for the people who don't have time and can't move?
No, no. What I see is that it's a very great example. My son is 10 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a digital native, right? But they go to a traditional school where they get access to internet and screen and whatever, but most of the time is like they interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they need to make like research into something, and he comes home and he asks me about, Mom, how I can find information about this and that, and I say, you just Google it, you just go on YouTube. And then it starts to build slowly. So if you can build the habit of learning, not exactly in a course-like manner, but for example, if you meet a problem that you want to read more about, don't go to a library, which is like outdated by now. Try and learn something online and see it for yourself, that it is really, really empowering for you to be able to do something just by looking at the screen and following a process.
Mm-hmm. Video instructions you're talking about. So it's more
Yes.
easier to learn with the video instruction. Yes. And I have a lot of people who just Google diseases and not really have a own understanding and kind of make up problems which they don't actually have. So that's why I think
I know.
to educate is really good, because these days anybody can tell you anything, like you need to drink this, then they will say drink this or feel like this, something was with this. So knowledge is so confusing with the access to internet. So I think online
That's
course and
also true, that we need to teach our students how to validate information on the internet that they find. So this is why online courses are very much different from YouTube and Google Academy, because anybody can upload anything on YouTube and Google without having to really testify for the information that they share. But if you want to build an online course and you want to create a sustainable business out of it, then I'm sure that you go after the information that you share, so you tested it out. And this is why I always say, yes, you can find a lot of information on the internet, but the way the information is put together in an online course, plus the feedback and the assessment loops are there, is what makes it a completely different experience for you.
exactly the accountability of the person who has created the course, like just don't buy any course, like which is just this can also be confusing, because who has created this course? Has he worked with this topic? Like if I buy a course, I would look into that, like who has made it? Does he know anything about,
Obviously.
like that's one of my major thing about learning from somebody. Who am I learning from? And if this person has worked with what he's talking about and takes the accountability for his methodology, if then I find it
Exactly.
effective. Like, you're creating the curriculum, so we can really depend on you for, you have an eye for making a curriculum and, to help people design something which is really effective. And I really don't think if I would have worked with so many people worldwide, and taught for so many years, because this is my second big step which I've taken, so I wouldn't know how to, put the extracts and how much people can digest. But it's really beneficial to have a deep insight about, what you
This
want
is
to
why
do.
I say also that if you start out as a coach or a consultant and you see that a fellow coach puts out a course on something that you think that you can also teach, make sure that you know how to integrate it with your existing methodology.
Exactly.
Usually for example, let's bring up the health coaching industry, because Ayurveda can be part of that big term.
Mm-hmm.
If I was a health coach who specialized in training like physical activities, and that is what I learned, how to do like different physical workouts, and then I see that a fellow trainer or online coach of mine offers meal plans, but I have no idea about nutrition. I don't have to offer it to my clients. They don't want me. Of course, I can make some quick money here and there with it, but if I don't have the experience, the knowledge behind it, then I don't need to do it. I am fine with doing what I am good at, and really hone in on that one thing you are good at. Obviously, including myself, I am a multi-passionate person. I know how to make soaps. I know how to make infusions. I know a lot of things. Then I know how to knit, how to crochet, how to work out, because I've been trying a lot of the things. Do I ever give any advice on it? No. And I would never create a course about that.
Exactly. It's like creditability, what you are, creditability and accountability about what you are
Yes.
offering, Yeah, that's very right. And that is one of the reason I did masters in NLP, new linguistic, but I don't teach it because, I've just done it few years back. It's little, I can't make a course out of it, but my courses are on Ayurveda, something which has been part of my life since 2001. What I live, I eat, I think, I believe. So they kind of, and they show my deeper work. So I love this advice of yours. Don't create any course if you know something.
Obviously, you are an expert because you have a lot of different additional expertise or skills attached to it. This is why you are a different Ayurvedic doctor than the other one. Mm-hmm. Because that other one might not have done NLP, or that other one might be specialized in like massage therapy or whatever. Mm-hmm. Then that other person, that other Ayurvedic doctor is good in that, is outstanding in that. You are outstanding in Ayurvedic sciences and NLP, and that's completely fine. This is why every expert finds their clientele. I'm sure about that.
Exactly. I really value human time, so my biggest intention was how to deliver the maximum, but in easy word advices, even if I had an hour, even if I had 30 minutes, even if I had 15 minutes, what does this person need to hear or learn, So any time given, I just hate wasting people's time and my time. So it's really
obviously
nice. Yes. And
life is short.
Yes, life is short. And that's why I think strategy planning, and this is really an important word, instead of just throwing away any courses at people and, just doing it because everybody is into online nowadays. So I just loved your advices today. Thank you very much for joining us. And would you like to say something?
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much, because you helped our audience kind of know a little bit about a good online strategies and how to build programs. And if any of our audience knows something and wants to make a course, Susanna is the right person to be with.
Thank you so much.
And I invited you because when you were talking on the show, I was like, wow, she's reading my mind. So I just loved your advices, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much.